Today, we are jumping into a really fascinating poem by A.K. Ramanujan called Time and Time Again. Now, on the surface, you might think it's just about clocks, but like any great piece of writing, it's a puzzle, right? There's a hidden meaning just waiting for us to find it. So let's peel back those layers together and see what this poem is really all about.
Okay, so the poem kicks off with this really beautiful, almost musical image. I mean, just picture it for a second. You're in a city, and it's full of these grand clock towers. But here's the twist. Instead of a perfect, synchronized chime, what you actually hear is this jumble of gongs, all just a little bit out of step with each other. It creates this amazing soundscape that's just full of this slight, beautiful disharmony. And that right there, that's the central question, isn't it? If every single clock is telling a slightly different time, what's the bigger story they're all telling together? I mean, what does all this mismatched timekeeping actually mean? That's the puzzle we're going to try to solve today.
So what the poem gives us right away is this picture of a city filled with misfit clocks. Each one has its own personality, its own rhythm, its own unique voice. They aren't working together in perfect unison, which, it immediately makes you question that one line from the poem, a well-managed city. I mean, really, how well-managed can a city be if none of its clocks can agree on what time it is?
And Ramanujan gives us this whole laundry list of reasons for all this chaos. At first, it's all physical stuff, right? Accidents of alloy, or maybe a clockmaker whose hand was a little shaky. But then, look at those last couple of points. A donor's whim. And then this one, perennial feuds and seasonal alliances. Whoa! Suddenly, we're not just talking about metal and gears anymore. This is our first huge clue that there's something much more human going on here.
So this brings us to the big pivot point. You have to ask yourself, are we really just talking about timepieces in a city? Or is Ramanujan using these clocks to talk about something way deeper? Something about us. Okay, let's really dive into this. And boom, there it is. That's the answer. This poem isn't really about mechanical time at all. It's about the messy, complicated, beautiful, and sometimes frustrating world of human relationships. It's all about how we connect with each other, how we fall into conflict, and how we try, and sometimes fail, to put the pieces back together again. So the clock towers, they become this incredibly powerful metaphor. See, each one, with its unique sound and its slightly off timing, it represents a different community living within the city. You've got different faiths, different cultures, different groups, and each one has its own history and its own way of seeing the world. This chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at this. On the left, you have the physical things about the clocks, and on the right, you see how they perfectly mirror the social dynamics of human communities. The different gongs and alloys of the clocks, well, that's the different faiths and beliefs of the people. The maker's hand that built the clock, that's the history and culture that shapes a community. And those feuds and alliances, that's human conflict and compromise, plain and simple. It's a perfect one-to-one.
And just in case you were thinking, okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, Ramanujan makes it totally explicit. He comes right out and names the communities whose feuds and seasonal alliances are being reflected by these clocks. This one line just grounds the entire metaphor in the social reality of the city. There's no mistaking it. But then, the poem, it takes a much darker turn. Because the disharmony isn't always just some beautiful, messy sound. Sometimes that conflict boils over into something much worse. And the clocks, these symbols for our communities, they stop working entirely. They just fall silent.
And why do they fall silent? Well, the poem gives us reasons that are just chillingly real. A clock face might be left eyeless after a riot. Its gears might be destroyed by a time bomb hidden during a peace march. These are not just mechanical failures anymore. This is what happens when a society completely breaks down.
Now, if you're reading this poem and you're feeling a little bit lost or confused, hey, you're not alone. That's actually part of the point. Ramanujan's style can be intentionally complex. He doesn't just hand you the answers on a silver platter, and that is a very deliberate choice on his part. One of the key tools he uses to do this is something called doublespeak. It's basically language that's intentionally ambiguous. It's written in a way that forces you, the reader, to consider multiple meanings all at the same time. His poetry is absolutely full of it. As one analyst put it, Ramanujan really treats poetry like it's a puzzle or a crossword. He wants you to engage with the words. He wants you to twist them and turn them around in your mind and find all the different layers of meaning that he's packed inside. It's an interactive experience. Yeah, he uses what's described as a forked tongue, but not to deceive you. He does it to challenge your assumptions. This intentional ambiguity is what pushes us past the simple image of clocks and forces us to really grapple with the deeper social commentary he's making. So seriously, if you feel a bit lost at times, that's okay. It's actually part of the experience he designed for you.
Okay, so after the riot, after the clockwork is all knocked out and the communities have fallen silent, what happens next? Does anything ever get rebuilt? The poem has a pretty clear perspective on this cycle of social chaos and recovery.
And this slide right here perfectly illustrates the poem's title. You see this clear, repeating cycle. You start at number 1 with strife and chaos. Then things kind of calm down. People try to patch it up, hush things up and move on. But here's the kicker. The underlying problems, they never really go away, which means the whole cycle is just waiting to start all over again, time and time again.
And this creates such a powerful, powerful contrast. On the one hand, you have this cosmic, unstoppable force of time just ticking on relentlessly, perfectly. And then on the other hand, you have us, human society, just lurching forward in these messy fits and starts, clashing, compromising, falling apart, and putting ourselves back together, all while those clock towers are marking a perfect time that we just can't seem to follow.
So, after digging through all of this, what's the big takeaway? What's the core message we should really walk away with from time and time again?
Ultimately, this poem is this profound and maybe a little sad commentary on human society. It uses this brilliant image of mismatched clocks to show us the enduring, repeating cycle of conflict and fragile peace between different communities. It's a story of our inability to ever truly synchronize, all playing out against the one thing that is always in sync, the relentless, unstoppable passage of time itself.
And that just leaves us with this final, lingering question to think about. The clocks, they're going to keep on striking. They'll keep marking the passage of time no matter what we do. But is that enough? Or if we ever hope to finally break this cycle of conflict and truce, is it our own hearts that must learn to change their rhythm?